against her husband.
Who knows what's happening? But still, Yaakov has a certain responsibility on himself that he has to take thing. You can't all of a sudden say, no, don't worry, I'll take the blame. Man, the son is the son. He's still using the thing. It's a good point. Okay. So now what happened was like this. Now at this point, the heart of Yitzchak, his intention was to give bracha to whom? To Esav. But the words came to Yaakov, so it's not complete. Now there's a certain. Let's see what Sam says. His mouth and heart were not in the same frequency, going to the same person. Like I just said now. ואם כן, אין לנו כל כך סברה לומר שלאחר שהרגיש יצחק בעולמה של יעקב שיהיה יעקב ראוי להתקלם. So, ואם כן, אין לנו כל כך, it's not such a, the Ramaut wasn't so great. Why wasn't it so great? Because Yaakov Avinu did not steal the heart of Yitzchak. Right? In other words, Yitzchak said his, it wasn't tricked 100%. Because, not totally. I'll give you an example. Right? An example, sorry to go into, what do you call this? Sorry to go into politics, but just this is probably the best way to understand it. And that's what that happened to Bennett. Look what happened. There's so many people who came and voted for Bennett. And Bennett said, I am going to be the rightest, I'm the right. And I'm never going to go to the left, never going to sign with the Arabs, and never this, never that. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden he changes his mind and he becomes the prime minister of Israel for the left, for the Arabs, and he has his own team there, totally against what he said. Now,
he didn't change his mind, he lost his mind.
Sorry?
He didn't change his mind, he lost his mind.
He lost his mind.
Not logic.
Right. So he lost his mind. Now, he lost his mind. At this point, those who voted for him, right? Those who voted for him, their maaseh of putting the thing in the ballot and their hearts, he stole the hearts of all those people who voted for him. They're very, very upset. Very upset. So that's an example that their hearts were stolen, right? They were totally tricked. Now, with Yaakov, Hamadil Avdalot, right? With Yaakov and Esav and Yitzchak, his heart was still with Esav because he thought it was Esav who was in front. He didn't steal Keviachol, the heart of Yitzchak. This is what he says, ואם כן, אין לנו כל כך סברה לומר שלאחר שהרגיש יצחק בעולמה של יעקב, שיהיה יעקב ראוי להתקלל. Now, when Yitzchak Avinu understood that there was a deceiving point, there was a deceiving taking place, deception taking place, so he didn't get so angry, Yitzchak, because he wasn't totally deceived, because his heart was still with Esav. It's only the voice. Shali sof sof natan lo haberachot befiv. At the end of the day, he gave the berachot to Yaakov. Ve'eshar shemishum achi chazal v'kiyemam gam baruch yeh. You have to understand that then when Yitzchak Avinu came, when Esav came and said, "Give me my berachot," when he came back from the thing, "Give me my berachot." So he said, "No, your brother came and took the berachot already." Well, he started crying, and he says, if that's the case, that he bought the berachorah, gam baruch yeh. That beracha, that's when the main all the berachot came from these words. Before that, it was still half. Gam baruch yeh is the main beracha, is the whole beracha that he said before. אבל לאחר מעשה שמעון ולוי מוכח שפי. Now, after after אבל לאחר מעשה שמעון ולוי, after the מעשה of Shimon and Levi, the greater understanding of the case of Yaakov. We're going to see it now. Shekatav Arizal. This is something which we mentioned a few times, and those who have never been here before, so it's a very interesting idea. And I'm going to ask us something which I've never asked before, and that's why I'm going to bring the case over here. It's a very interesting idea. Shekatav Arizal. Sheterach ba'al ishto nida. There's another place in also Parashat Vayishlach and also Vayitzeh, 3 times in both this case, that Terach, who is Terach, the father of Avraham Avinu, he was with his wife Benida probably once. Benida, because it was a son, even though it's before Matan Torah, that's also another case. But for some reason, it must have been that it's Isur even for at that point then for Bnei Noach. Right? Because they did this Averah, so they had to come back again to this world and go through a certain cleaning process because of the Averah that they did. Like we all have. Excuse me, what are we doing here? We're also doing a certain tikkun that we did. This is not the first time we've been here, right? And I don't know where we've been, but we've been here around, and we're doing our tikkun. So Terach, the father of Avraham Avinu, had to come back again to this world, and so the mother of Avraham, the wife of Avraham Avinu. Sorry, the mother of Avraham Avinu, the wife of Terach. Ubat Terach begigul beIyov. Who was Iyov? There's a machloket in the Gemara, big machloket in the Gemara. Who was Iyov? But according to this understanding, according to Arizal, Terach was Iyov. Iyov, yeah, he came Iyov. Veishto Bedina, the wife of Terach she came in as Dinah. So in other words, as you said before, it was the great grandmother, correct? The great grandmother who was the mother of Avraham Avinu. It's Avraham, and then it was Yitzchak, Yaakov, and then Dinah. So 4 generations down.
Great grandmother, no?
Great grandmother, right? So 4 generations down the line. So she came back again to this world. And what happened? Sheniset achar kach leIyov. After she got married with Iyov. Okay, that's another. Vesiman ladabar nida nehepach ledina. There's a siman over there. The word that nida, which was the avera of the wife of Terach, she came in and she was called Dinah as a remez of the avera that that was the tikkun. That was the tikkun. She came to this world in order to be mitaken. Ubeiyov al yedei isurim. Usa mimenu zot hazoama. So Iyov, when he came to this world, how did he came to this world, and he had to go through a certain process as well, certain cleaning process of isurim. He had to go through rough time. Vedina beota bi'a sheba alea shechem ben chamor sha'a mimena kol hazoama v'nitera. And Dinah, what happened to Dinah? She was violated by Shechem ben Chamor, and because they were together, so he brought Shechem ben Chamor. It's brought down that he was the Nachash HaKadmoni. He came in as a Nachash HaKadmoni, Tuma, one of the greatest Tuma, and what he did was, through this biyah, he came and extracted all the Tuma that was in the what do you call this? In Dinah. Okay, somebody wants to say something? Somebody?
Oh, it was a mistake. Sorry, I just put my mouse over it.
It's okay. All right. Okay, so we see from here that Dinah, she became Tahora V'nitera. because of this bia, which is quite astounding, right? ועל זה נאמר, ותהי נידתה עליו. There's a certain pasuk, it's a play of words, and from there we say ותהי נידתה עליו, which means that ותהי, the nidah that she had was on him. On who? On Shechem. Now the nidah that was on her kevachol because of this avera, that was extracted and brought to Shechem. כי עניין השעיר הנושא עוונות ישראל. And we know there were two goats, the daf yomi we see it. There's two little goats that were chosen in the Bet HaMikdash in Yom Kippur. One was La Hashem and the other was La Azazel. That Azazel was taken to a cliff far away from Yerushalayim and thrown down the cliff, and it would kill and the whole thing would disintegrate. Now that was the same thing here. This maaseh totally cleans her. והרואה, this is where the נקודה comes now. והרואה שומע, והשומע סובר שנטמע דינה, ואדרבה, על ידי זה נתירה ביותר. Now what's happening here? We see from here that this maaseh that happened to Dinah cleansed her from this avira that was from the Gilgul HaKodem. Very good. Now anybody who sees or listens or hears to this maaseh, סובר שנטמאת דינה. Says Hashem Yishmor, what happened to her? ואדרבה. על ידי זה, the truth of it, the matter is what? That she became clean. She became now tahara. Okay? Her what do you call this? Her tikkun was done. Not completely, because obviously she didn't die immediately. She kept on going. Okay.
The daughter that married Yosef.
Sorry? Her daughter's, yeah, nachon. Very good. So, okay.
Rabbi, can I ask, sorry to cut you off, can I ask why, I forgot the significance of the Nachash being a Gilgul. Do you mind explaining that again?
Okay, nachon, you know something, I'll quote, let me quote it. You're asking good. So let's see if I can quickly find it. For those who want to see, for those who have the books, I'm just going to quote very quickly. Just a second. Here's Vayishlach Yudbet. Vayishlach Yudbet. Okay, I'm just going to quote. So again, as well, the Amudei Shiva brings the Arizal. He says over here, ששכם בן חמור החיבי הוא הנחש הקדמוני. He came in, you have to understand, the certain I'll explain. There's certain times when they're given permission in Shamayim for big malachim, so to speak, or shedim, to come to this world and to do certain missions, right? And the Nachash HaKadmoni is the serpent, the serpent that was with Chava, right? The serpent was with Chava. That serpent, that's a spiritual entity, Kevyachol, that came into Shechem. Shehesit et Chava, the Nachash came and was with Chava. Ve'etil bazoama, and the Nachash came and brought in his poison into Chava. שהסית את חווה והטיל בה זוהמה, ולכן נקרא החיבי, לשון חוויה. Why did he say, it says over there, the Torah says, the Shechem ben Chamor came from the tribe of Chivi. Chivi in Aramaic is Chiviyah, which is a serpent. It's a remez. The Torah is giving you a remez of who Shechem was. ועל ידי זה נתערבו נשמות קדושות בין הקליפות, and because of that, there were many many neshamot kedoshot, very holy souls that were mixed kevyachol in the klipa. They were already taken into captivity kevyachol by the other side, the klipa. ובתוך הקליפה של תרח היה ניצוץ הקדוש של אברהם. Avraham Avinu was stuck כביכול in this big nitzotz. This big nitzotz was stuck in the klipa of Terach, and from there the whole thing starts to move forward. ותרח בא על אשתו בן נידה וכו'. And then because of that comes שכם בן חמול and cleans Dinah. Okay? All right. This is, over there it's brought down a bit more in detail. Now, so what do we see from here? We see from here, which is very important, this is not to lose the track, and that is that anybody who heard the Maaseh of Dinah would say, Hashem Yishmor, what a tragedy. But the truth is that what? That Nitera, she was purified, and that was the best thing that could happen to Dinah. Let's keep on going, and then I'll ask a question. Vezeu, we're now in the second column, second paragraph. Vezeu v'Yaakov shama ki timeh et Dinah bito. Now, when what happened to Dinah, so Yaakov heard. Now, where was Yaakov and where were the brothers? We're going to see now. כלומר, שמע שהכל אמרו בפיהם שנטמעה שלא היו יודעים הסוד. Now, אבל יעקב היה יודע הסוד. Everybody was speaking, say Hashem Yishmor, what a big tragedy. Yaakov Avinu knew the secrets. The secret of what? Dinah was nitera. It wasn't as bad as everybody said. אבל יעקב היה יודע הסוד, וזהו והחריש יעקב עד בואם. We see in the pasuk over there that Yaakov Avinu kept quiet and didn't say anything, he didn't comment anything until the brothers, his children, Shimon, Levi, everybody came over to the house because they were in the field at the time when this happened. When they came over to the house, then he came and said the truth. ולא רצה לומר לשום אדם אלא לבניו. He didn't want to say this secret only to his children. ואת תשפיל, שהרי בניו שמעו את המעשה בשדה. And this goes well. Why? Because the children heard the maaseh, this story. I mean, this tragedy of what happened to Dinah. Where did they hear it? They heard it in the sadeh, in the field. ומה היה צורך לומר להם כשבאו? ולכאורה, what was the point of telling them when they came? If they already heard, what is Yaakov coming to add? If the brothers already know, I mean the children of Yaakov already know because they heard in the sadeh, in the field, they already heard what happened. What is Yaakov Avinu keeping quiet? The Torah says he kept quiet, and then he said until they came over. What is he adding? He knew that the brothers knew. Elama, we know from here, we understand that he wanted to say something which nobody knew. The secrets. אלא שמתחילה באו מן השדה כשמעם המעשה. When they heard the מעשה, they were in the sadeh. The brothers of Dinah were in the field when they heard this מעשה. וכשבאו אז יעקב אמר להם הסוד. When they came back from the field, so then Yaakov Avinu came and gave over the secrets. ומכל מקום חרה להם, nevertheless, he got angry. Okay, here we go. ומכל מקום חרה להם כי נבלה עשה בישראל. They got angry. Who got angry? The brothers got angry, especially Shimon and Levi. They got angry. Why? Because they said the what? כי נבלה עשה בישראל. It was נבלה, a really bad thing happened to Am Yisrael. כלומר, it's going to explain now, לדורות הבאים, שלא ידעו הסוד יאמרו כי נבלה עשה זה באשכם. Those who don't know the story, the brothers know the story now, the truth. Yaakov knows the truth. All the children know the children. The other Shevatim know the truth. Now, what did they say? Wait a moment. We know the truth, but soon after the Torah was going to be written, and later on, right? What are they going to say? That Nevra Asu Israel, and everybody kept quiet? No, we have to do something about this. This is what Shimon and Levi. That is what they came. They got angry. Kevechon. This is why Yaakov Avinu. We asked at the beginning the question: why did Yaakov Avinu tell them off? What was the anger about? The anger was this: they got angry that they had to do something. They had to do something in order to put this straight. They didn't want that in the future generations. Am Yisrael are going to say, "What happened to Dinah? Look, now it's violated, nothing happens. No, nobody took reaction. Is this the way to react?" Now, okay, this is until this now. Now we have
a question. I'm sorry,
Yes.
but a question also is: did Shechem know what he was doing on a different level? Did
No.
he know anything?
No, I
No,
don't
he
think-
didn't know.
No.
So that's the real cry.
Yeah, 100%. And therefore, like we said, it was totally okay for Shimon and Levi to come and attack them.
Right. So I don't know if you want to go into this again, but what gave Shechem the zechut to have so much power, so to say, to be able to do this for Dinah?
Okay. Now you're hitting on a point which on a side point of what I wanted to say now. So I'm going to ask the question. We know that Dinah, Chazal say, is brought down. Chazal say like this. Chachamim say on Dinah that she was yatzanit. Yatzanit means she used to go out in those times. Nowadays, another story, okay? But in those times, over 3,000-4,000 years ago, women would not go out. And Dinah, she was defined by the Torah that she went out too much. And she went out to the shuk. Wanted to look at this, look at that. And that wasn't a good thing, right? And because of this Avera, she went out to the shuk, and Shechem saw her and took her. It didn't come. How did Dinah get violated? If she's supposed to be in the tent with all the brothers and everything, what opportunity would Shechem have in order to do such a thing? It's only why, because she came out. She got into trouble, right? And that's what happened. Okay. Now, so she did an Avera. Okay, she also did an Avera. She did a problem. Now I asked, wait a moment, if she did an Avera, we say Avera goreret Avera. An Avera is sin. When the person does a sin, that sin will bring him to do another sin. And that sin will bring another sin until he does teshuvah. Could be big and big every time. The same thing with the mitzvah. Mitzvah, go mitzvah. We all know this, right? Now, if that's the case, how can it be that this mitzvah, this avera that she did, or going out and then got violated, all of a sudden we see now the result that she nitera, she became purified. Wow! From this avera, she became clean. It goes against all the equations that Chazal brought us forward. Anybody can give me an answer? You understand the question, first of all?
That's a very good question.
Okay, so that's the question. Now, the answer. The answer goes like this. This is my answer. This is what my answer, I feel what the answer is. Man and women, especially man, anybody, right, comes to this world, le'amal yulad. It's brought down the Gemara in Sanhedrin, in Daf Sadik Tetz, over there it's brought down that man came to this world to toil. To toil means to work. If he chooses to work in an office, construction, medical, lawyer, whatever he wants to be, he has to work. He decides to be that, very good. So he has to work. If he decides to learn Torah, so La'amal Yulad, right? And he can choose himself where he wants to go. He will end up working or toiling, meaning exerting himself in a certain melacha. It's either to go to work or to go to learn. Okay, that's this man was brought into this world to do such a thing. Now, if that's the case, we see from here that man has the position, right, has the option, to some extent, to decide what he wants to do. He can choose this way or that way. Now, at the same time, when it comes to, when it comes to certain tikkunim that the person has to do, he can do it the good way or the bad way. The person had to come here to this world to do tikkun, a certain tikkun, right? So you can do it. There's two parts in front of him. You can do it the nice way. We're going to see what that means, or the tough way. For example, I'm going to give you another example on another thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Mitzrayim wanted to show not only Mitzrayim, but wanted to show the whole world, and written in the Torah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was coming, and he was going to be the Melech of the world. And everybody is going to see and understand that Hashem is the one who rules the entire universe and the world at all levels. So he said, okay, so Moshe, please let's leave Mitzrayim. It's time for us to leave Mitzrayim. And Paro said, no, ma pitom, and he started waging war with Hashem, right? Being akshan, stubborn against what Hashem wanted to do. Now, Hashem wanted to bring into the world a certain Kiddush Hashem. Paro, on his side, from his angle, he didn't know that, but we're going to say that now, that Paro, he had the option of accepting what Moshe said. Oh, Moshe, you wanted to leave Bechavod, right? Or he just said, no, I don't want to leave, like what happened, like what really happened. And then Hashem was going to bring all the makot and all the things on them, and also Kriyat Yamsuf and everything, right? And then a tremendous Kiddush Hashem was going to arise from this. Now Hashem wanted to bring this Kiddush Hashem. Hashem wanted to show that the power, the hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu into this world. Now, Paro could have decided one or the other. What would have happened? I ask you, what would have happened if Paro would have said, you know something? Yes, Moshe, you want to leave? Bechavod, red carpets, everybody can leave. Besimcha rabah, and everybody's singing. You can leave, no problem. What would have happened? Something would have happened that the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu would have been also B'Kiddush Hashem at the same level. Everything is great in the same way as we know, right? So there's two ways and a man always has two options of bringing. You know, Hashem wants to bring the Kiddush Hashem to this world. So if Paro would have said this way or that way, the Kiddush Hashem was going to happen. It just, as we know it, he didn't want this. He didn't want Am Yisrael to leave. So then the Kiddush Hashem came from the makot that happens. Now the same thing happens when we have a certain tikkun. We have certain tikkun. Hashem can bring the tikkun. The person can decide where he's going to bring his tikkun, either right or left, in a good way or in a bad way. Now, let's go to the page which says the extra page that we said the other day. It says, "Kol Adam le'amal nivra." So I'm going to read it.
What sefer is this?
This is from Metivta, at the back, inside
Oh.
Metivta, right to the back. So it says like this: Kol adam le'amal nivra, right? The man was created in this world in order to work, to toil. Now next, בתנא דרליהו, second line. הובא שעמלו של האדם תלוי בבחירת האדם עצמו. The amount of work, the toiling that he's going to do depends on him. מאחר שאדם לעמל נברא. Man has to toil in this world. He can decide whatever he wants to do, but he will end up working. ולכן, אם הוא בוחר שעמלו יהיה בתורה, הרי הוא זוכה לכך. If he decides that he's going to learn Torah, so this should be his amelut. He has to toil in the Torah. אבל אם בחר שיהיה עמלו במלאכה, הרי הוא עמל בכך. But if he decides that he's going to he wants to work, whatever he wants to do, right? Any job he wants to do. So he'll have to work. This is what he has to do. Now, וכן כתב רבנו יונה. He's going to explain a very nice thing, and this is connection here. וכן כתב רבנו יונה לבאר את מאמר חז"ל. So now on the second page now, which I sent you, where it says ביאורים at the top. עבר אדם על כריתות. Yeah, everybody has it?
Yes. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. עבר אדם על כריתות או מיתות בדין. Somebody did certain averot that the punishment for that person is kritot, meaning that the life of the person becomes shortened, or he doesn't have olam haba, or he has mitot bedin, or in Mechalei Shabbat, for example, siyat chaya mita, or he was bo'el benida, like we're talking about now, and whatever it is, many of the isurim that raise has kritut to it. So what happens? So he has a problem. How can he be metaken? Says Rabbeinu Yonah, which is one of the biggest Rishonim. And he wants to do teshuvah. אם היה רגיל לקרות פרק אחד ביום, יקרא שני פרקים. If normally he learns one perek of Mishnah, for example, so instead of learning one perek of Mishnah, from today onwards, you should learn 2 prakim of Mishnah every single day. That is going to be mechaper kritot umitot bedin. Very powerful. Wow. Just this extra. By learning a bit more, all of a sudden, now you have to understand, you know what that means, mitot bedin? Mitot bedin, the person has to go through a lot of suffering in this world. And kritot, and his life is shortened. Hashem Yishmor. Says the Ben Yonah, no, there's another easier way. You can do it the tough way, or you can do it the easy way. If you don't do anything, you'll have to go through the mitah of bedin, you have to go through yisurim, you have a lot of suffering. If you want to do it the easy way, how do you do it? You learn one perek, instead of learning one perek, you learn 2 prakim. Or Mishnah, or if you learn one daf of Gemara, you do 2 Gemara, 2 a day. שמכיוון שנגזר על החוטא ייסורים לכפר על חטאו, because there is a certain decree on the person, because he did certain averot, and those averot he has to cleanse, he has to atone for them. יכול לייסר עצמו על דברי תורה. He can choose and say, you know something, I'm going to suffer the consequences through learning Torah, and not through all the tzarot, that holy and money and Shem Yishmor and all the bad things that could happen. I'm not going to go through that. I'm going to go through Divrei Torah. וזה יחשב לו במקום ייסורים. And this will be in place of ייסורים. Very, very strong. והביא לכך ראיה ממה שאמר רבי אליעזר. כל אדם גם יודע. Okay, so until now, you don't have to finish the thing. So now what do we see from here? A very powerful learning we see from here, and that is that when the person has a certain gezerah on him because he's done certain averot and he has to go through the suffering. So you got another way of another option, right? Another option. Now, Dinah, coming back and okay, this is the introduction. Dinah had to nitera, right? She went through nida, right? Her great 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 grandmother went through this issue. She had to come back to this world as Dinah, and coming back as Dinah, she has to go through a certain process. Now, at this point, she could have gone the good way or the bad way. She went the bad way. She went to the shuk. She opened up the gates kevachol beisur. She in her level. She went into the shuk. At that point, she opened it. Then all of a sudden Shechem came and it went into the bad track, to the negative track kevachol. Let's put it that way. Instead of, she could have stayed at home and the tahara would have been in a different way. She would have still have happened the tahara because she had to come here to this world as in order to fix this avera. But you can do it this way or that way. And because she was yatzanit, she was a lady that came out too much, whatever it was. That's what the Torah Chazal say. So she had the story that as we all know it. But if she wouldn't have gone out, then the purification would have happened in a different form, in a very smooth form, and not having go through what she went through. And this is what we learn also from Rabbeinu Yonah, and we also learn from our lives as well. That what we have the choice. We have the choice to go one way or the other. We come here to this world to do tikkunim, right? Many tikkunim. Lav dafka, one big one. Could be one big one, could be many, right? So if we understand that we are suffering too much, more than the normal, so listen. So choose another direction, the direction of learning. Go or support somebody who learns. It doesn't. Rabbeinu Yonah doesn't say that. I don't think so, Nachon. No, you can't support it. You yourself have to come and learn. Why? Because you have to meyaser et atzmo divrei Torah. You yourself have to suffer, kiviyachol, having to go and understand and go and stay hours, kiviyachol, trying to learn more than what you normally have to learn. And that is the tikkun, which is, I think this is answers what we asked at the beginning, or that I asked, and that is, how come is it that Dinah, she did an avera, right? Although she did an avera of going out, all of a sudden we see that there is nitera. The nitera had to come. The tikkun was going to come to her, but there's two ways for her to come, to that point. There's going to the shuk and going out for her level, and that was already an avera, and therefore she would end up being mitaher, but through violation, etc. Or she could have done it through a different path, a more positive, more less suffering, no suffering at all, like we see here as well from the learning of the Torah. So this answers.
Excuse me. Does anyone say that that when Dinah going out, yatzanit, that it's not an avera? I mean,
No.
Going back to her mother Leah, right? So Leah
also it comes from that.
It's like the Torah, the concept of saying something negative about one of our, imahot kadoshot, kadoshim. It's like we don't do that, right? We don't even say something bad about the chazir. So yatzanit is, maybe it's not a bad thing.
No, we see it from the Chazal. Something, we would never have the audacity to come and say Dinah was yatzanit, and this one, and Leah as well, she came out, and this. Also, we see from the Torah that yatza Dinah. Okay, then Chazal over there say, and when Chazal say it's Beruach HaKodesh, and it's when they say it because it's true. It's not that they are guessing or trying to place us or not. It's coming to explain what the Torah is trying to teach us. And we see that Dinah, also Leah, had that midah of coming out. She came out to visit, at her level again, right? At her level, she came out to extend, to bring, to Beruchim Habayim to Yaakov Avinu. And the Torah over there says that was called Yetzanit. She was also Vayetzeh. Over there also she came out. And Dinah comes from Leah, also the same midah kivechol. And again, we see that they both had this intonation, and we see that this avera, right? They chose kivechol, Dinah at least. They chose this path or whatever. This is what happened to her, and there were two ways of going to that point, to that target kivechol, and she chose the suffering part. Okay, now it's 9:30. I don't even. Yeah, it's like what we do.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah.
Sorry about the piece. I mean, if you want, we continue this tomorrow. But on the piece you read about that, the alternative is learning extra Torah.
Right.
I have two problems with it. Number one, it's sort of making learning Torah be a punishment, which it shouldn't be. It should be an enjoyment. But it's sort of saying your punishment is learning Torah, which is very weird. And the second thing, I know you've answered this many times, but I'm still going to ask the question again. If you can then learn Torah and get what you need, why are so many Talmidei Chachamim starving?
Okay.
You don't need to learn so much. You don't need to work so much. Spend your time learning.
The second question is a shiur b'fnei atzmo. It's a whole world over there. The Gemara says, but at least on the first, I'll try to answer both. But the first question, where you say that that the Torah is that we're given this option of learning Torah in order to as an onish kivechol. The truth is like this: it's not like an onish. It's for let me see. For example, somebody is sick, right? Somebody is sick, and there's two options for him. It's either you give him a pill, a sweet pill, and he has it, and it cures him, or if he doesn't have it, he'll have to go through an operation and go through a rough time, right? So this pill is kaviyachol the Torah. Now, if it depends how you see it. If the Torah is supposed to be, everything that we do in this world, and especially when we come and learn Torah, we come to be metaken many things. Now, if you look at the Torah in a form of that it was taken brought to you as a punishment, so then the person looks at it as a whip on him. But the truth is, it's something matok. It's something very sweet. If you really go through the Gemarot and you learn it and you understand it and everything, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So it's like all of a sudden, nachon, we use the Torah kaviyachol to not to punish him, but to be metaken. We ease his suffering. So fantastic! It's a beautiful way of connecting oneself. Who wants to go? Who wants to go to? It's like you're in a very long trip, and you have to go walking now from here to 10 miles, 20, 30 miles, and all of a sudden you have a car. Would you take the car? Yeah, get the car. Fantastic. So take the car, and you've got an air-conditioned car instead of going, walking or going on a camel. So the same thing. The Torah is given to the person not as a form of punishment. He has a punishment. The punishment is going to come to him, but it's a way of tikkun. He has a way of fixing and cleansing himself through a sweet way, which is learning Torah. What we are doing now is a sweet way. There's no suffering. We're learning nicely. We're asking questions. We're all getting involved. It's beautiful. Time goes by. Look, it's 9:37 already. A beautiful time. So Baruch Hashem, going good. So it all depends on how you look at why the Torah, those who find it hard to learn Torah or something, so maybe it becomes worse. It's already harder. I understand. I've gone through it. It's extremely hard. It's no pashut. But again, okay, so through that suffering of sitting down learning Torah, there is more, is mechaper even more and quicker the kiritut or midot bedin that the person might have from this life or previous lives. So, and to answer your second question of we see that many Talmidei Chachamim suffer. So you have to understand that it's all very broad. This question is very broad, and it brings tremendous amount of other ramifications on it, and that is the person himself, for example, had to go through. He also had a certain tikkun to come, and for some reason he decided he was going to sit down and learn Torah. He's going to be an avrech, but he's going to be poor. So you see all of a sudden that he is metaken for before, but he has to go through a certain extra suffering, whatever it is, and he has to go through going through a rough time financially. So you say, look at the Torah, but you have to look at the all-encompassing. Nachon, the Torah is there and it's mechaper, but it's also mechaper previous loads of previous lifetimes as well, and it's a big combination of many things. It could be averot of his own of this lifetime, and it's all these things, and also it's brought down more on the Kabbalistic side, and that is normally Hakadosh Baruch Hu for tzaddikim, who pays them in this world. All the suffering comes to this world. It's like that's a big what do you call this understanding, and that is whatever avirah that the tzaddik does in this world, because who will pay him meaning make him suffer dafka in this world. So when he goes up to Shamayim, everything's clean. But the Rasha is afuch. What we just learned now is the midah of netzach. The midah of netzach. This is the midah of netzach. Who comes and does? He wants the tzaddikim to go up to Shamayim clean, and therefore whatever avirat he has to do, he has to pay in this world. Rather than the Rashaim, whatever mitzvah they do, who comes and pays them in this world. And that's why you sometimes see the big Rashaim, they have the biggest houses, the biggest planes, and Rolls Royces, money all over the place, and this and that. They've got power, right? And they got all these things. Who is paying them mamash in this world? And when they go to the next, there won't be a next world for them. Ad kedei kach. They go through Gaon through a very rough time. So okay, so we can carry on tomorrow. Okay, we can carry on tomorrow, and then we'll do a small piece as well, and hopefully we'll do the hour. Okay, so kol hakavod lachem, b'shah tova u'mutzlachat, and b'ezrat Hashem, if you have any questions from now to tomorrow about this issue, so please write it down, and they'll be more than willing to answer hopefully any answers.
Thank you very much.
Just wanted to add, just to let everyone know. So I just wanted to add that our shiurim are now being published on the main site of the Zera Shimshon. So the main website, they're adding multiple languages. They've got French, they're adding Spanish, obviously Hebrew and Yiddish, and our English shiurim are now starting to be added to that site also. I will send on the group the YouTube link, so that in case anyone misses it and they can't access it via the Skype, they can access it through the official Zera Shimshon site. And please also do spread it with your contacts in case anyone wants to hear them also.
Wonderful, thank you.
That's very good, Daniel.
Thanks, everyone. No, thank you.
Rabbi, take care.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Pleasure. Shalom. Thank you.